Get ready.
This is the voice of Wayne America.
Lighten up, Francis.
With your host,
Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here.
Mike Carnes.
How do you measure yourself with other golfers?
By height.
Only at WayneAmerica.com.
The supernova's gonna kill us all.
Okay, this guy is the real zero, that's true. Let's just think back when you guys were freshmen, huh?
.com.
Hello and welcome to the Voice of Wayne America podcast, exclusive here on WayneAmerica.com. I'm Mike Carnes, your host for everything that about the best town in all of America, and that's right here in Wayne America. And we want to thank our sponsors at Providence Medical Center. We'll be talking about them here a little later on. But the focus of this podcast, we've got a lot of history in this community, and one of the things that I think people maybe don't really realize is that we have a fantastic fire department here in Wayne, and this fire department has a long history here in Wayne, and it actually dates back more than a century. In fact, they are planning a celebration this weekend. It's the 125th anniversary ish of the fire department. There's a little I guess discussion about what year the fire department in Wayne actually got its start, but as best we know, it's 125 years this coming year, and the fire department's going to have a big celebration coming up on April 13th at the fire hall. And with us on the program this time around are two of the members of the fire department here, a 33-member strong fire department, and with us are Sean Piercy and Tom Schmitz. And guys, welcome to the podcast here. And unfortunately, we don't have any fires to put out, at least outside of this office anyway. We'll see how it goes here. But the 125-year anniversary of the fire department's got to be a lot of fun to I guess look back on the fire department's history and be able to celebrate it like this.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Mike, for having us. We're very excited to be celebrating at least 125 years. Again, some of the records indicate that it's closer to 130. So we're celebrating whatever it is, the Q125-ish, as we are calling it. And we're excited to welcome the community down to join us and celebrate our history over that time.
Tom, what are your thoughts?
The get-together will be on the 13th, like you were saying there, and we're going to go from 11 o'clock till 3 o'clock. We're going to be serving hot dogs, hamburgers, beans, drinks, and there's no free will donation or anything. This is our appreciation to the community. So we're putting this on. I want you to come down, kids, everything. We're going to have a bouncy house there. We'll have tours and fire truck rides.
So it should be a lot of fun for everybody at this party.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah. Well, now the history of the fire department is one that's kind of interesting. We were talking beforehand. There's some documentation that indicates that it was 125 years ago that the first fire department happened in Wayne, and then there's some other notes that date it back a little farther than that. So what's the story behind that?
Well, honestly, I certainly don't know, and there is certainly the confusion there. We have some of the documents in the Wayne Museum do indicate that we're at the 125th, but we've also gone back to the city council minutes for the city of Wayne, and that's indicating we're actually closer to 130. So unfortunately, the records during those times are kind of scarce, and there's just a lot of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. Tom, I know you mentioned something about a bucket brigade. Is that how it gets started here?
Well, to what we know and what we have been told, there was a fire, and after they had that fire, they thought they had to do something better than that, so they got buckets that they set around, and since then, well, there they came up with all the people that would come out there to start handing buckets. So that's how they got their water to the fire, and used buckets and manpower.
Now, where did they get the water to start a bucket brigade at?
Well, they would have wells and stuff, or faucet stuff, where in particular areas of town where they would, different corners would probably have the water there. And
think of a very primitive kind of hydrant system like we would have today. So much more limited and certainly lower water pressure, but they recognized very early on that they needed to have some sort of water source in through the downtown community in order to provide that bucket brigade with adequate resources.
Think of horse trough,
big horse trough.
And that's water.
Yeah. Now the fire department originally started in the downtown area, right? It was originally housed over by the where is now the post office. I think that was Johnny. Well, it's now Johnny Bird Brewery, but.
Well, that's the one that's currently standing, and that's one of the earliest ones. But even that one is only dated to the beginning of the 1900s. So prior to that, I guess I'm not aware of the knowledge as to where its origins were. But that's really where the first sort of major pieces of apparatus were stored. Obviously, as time progressed from the 1800s into the 1900s, the development of other types of apparatus. Originally, they had chemical carts, which would help to fight fires, and then of course slowly moved up to vehicles. And once the vehicles came in place, then they needed a place to house those vehicles. So prior to that, there could be something else, and once again, we're looking at some kind of spotty history as to what exactly transpired. Probably early on with the Bucket Brigade, it was mostly just the men or the citizens of the community that would come together from wherever they would happen to be, and didn't necessarily have to have one central housing location. Mm-hmm. So it was only after the development of the equipment that someplace had to be built to become a true fire station.
Okay. And then the current fire station that was built in the early 2000s, like 2002 is when you guys started working out there.
We officially opened in October of 2002 as our open house, and so we've been there, been very happy with it. Obviously a much larger. We found over the years that as the trucks and equipment have grown in size and in scope, the space becomes much greater in terms of what was needed. So it was necessary to move out of the old facility, and we moved into our new facility, as I said, about 17 years ago.
Uh-huh. Now the fire trucks that you guys use, where are those trucks built? I know that there's a place in Snyder, I think, that they do some.
And we've gotten some from Danko. That used to be Smeal. We used to get a lot of our trucks from Smeal, and hence we have the non-red fire trucks, and that was a Smeal color that we had used. And apparently, if I'm thinking right, it was something that we had came up with, or they had mixed up, and that's how we came up with it. It's a Smeal yellow. So, and we've gotten them out of South Dakota or North Dakota.
Most of ours have been coming. Most of our newer ones have been coming from the Smeal/Danko.
Danko.
Yeah.
That's the one in Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've got a good working relationship with them, and they've been very good to us and helped us service the community of Wayne for a long time.
Yeah, and then there's the old classic truck that still gets rides and parades and certain events, like when the softball team won the state title last year, they got to ride through town in that old truck. Now, how old is that truck again?
That's a 1936.
36. Okay.
Yeah,
so it's an 80-year-old truck and still
going strong.
Still going strong, huh?
Yeah. So of course we love to keep that around as our historical reminder of sort of the roots of the department, where we've been, and that's a great example, as I was saying earlier, of how the trucks have grown in size and scope. Mm-hmm. You compare that truck to one of our ladder trucks or pumper trucks now, it of course is dwarfed by its new counterpart.
Yeah, it's still a really neat vehicle to see.
Great piece of history.
See roll around.
Yeah, great piece of history there.
Yeah. We're talking with Sean Piercy and Tom Schmitz from the Wayne Fire Department here on the Voice of Wayne America podcast, and I want to take a moment to talk about Providence Medical Center in Wayne. They're proud to announce the addition of a new surgical procedure they now offer at the hospital called shoulder arthroscopy. This surgical procedure is for those who have rotator cuff injuries, where the surgeon inserts a tiny camera and the necessary instruments through small incisions in the shoulder rather than doing an open procedure with a large incision. Dr. Joseph Caro specializes in orthopedic surgery for Providence Medical Center. He's the team physician for Wayne State College and also offers his expertise at a number of high schools here in the area. For more information, check out Providence Medical Center's website at providencemedical.com. That's Providence Medical Center, extraordinary care rooted in compassion. Here on the Voice of Wayne America podcast, we're talking about the Wayne Fire Department's 125th-ish anniversary that will be coming up this Saturday. They're going to have a open house from 11 to 3 at the Wayne Fire Hall, which is located at 510 Tomar Drive here in Wayne, and free food and fire truck rides, all kinds of fun stuff's going to be happening at the fire hall next Saturday. So go and check it out and check out the history of the fire department. I know that it takes a great bunch of people to put something like, or have something like this going and keep it going for the community. There's 33 people on the department. You got 2 two guys here who have more than 20 years experience. Sean's been with the fire department 21 years. Tom just is celebrating his 35th anniversary this coming May, and you're only halfway to the current leader in the clubhouse. Bill Kugler just celebrated his 70th year with the fire department.
Yes, he did.
So great, a great wealth of experience here. A great mix of young people who are learning how to fight fires, and the old guys who've been there and done that and kind of been able to change with the times.
And we don't want to forget Dick Korn. Also, he just got his 50-year patch.
So that's a lot of time with the fire department.
A lot of time.
Yeah. What is it about being on the fire department that keeps you going, keeps you interested in doing something like this? Because it's not a paying job. It's you guys.
No, it's all volunteer.
It's all volunteer time.
It's just a way of life, I guess. The interest is there, and I guess you keep going until you lose interest. But you see, a lot of us haven't lost interest yet. So
yeah,
I think a lot of it stems, Mike, from the fact that people are really looking to help other people. And so as a community of Wayne, as the great community that it is, we want to be able to help our fellow citizens. So a lot of people join in and say, yep, we'll come together, we'll help. And we're not looking for pay, we're not looking for glory, but we just recognize the job needs to get done. Somebody's got to do it. And for some of us, there's an interest in assisting in that way.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. A lot of people who get involved in volunteer efforts like that. That's they want to help their fellow man out, and you guys have obviously had an opportunity to do that a lot of times over the years. With some of the fires that have been fought, and I know Tom, we've talked about some of the businesses here in town that have gone through fires. I know one that a lot of people still remember is the State Nebraska Bank fire that happened a little over 20 years ago.
Yeah, that was in 1986. So.
Or 30 years ago, I guess. Yeah, so it's been even longer, but. And that was on New Year's Day or the day after New Year's Day, wasn't it?
It was right in
New
Year's. Yeah, and it was a cold one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You guys have to fight fires, and it doesn't matter what the temperature is, whether it's 10 below or 100 above. You guys got to go in there and take care of business.
Yeah, you can't put them on your calendar, so.
Yeah, you don't schedule those,
no.
Right? But what's it like to go into a burning building like that? What are you thinking about as you're doing that? And
well, you're always looking if there's a life in there that you want to save. Hopefully, you never run across somebody in there, but if there is, you got to get them out. Every one that I've been in has been every one of them's different. As far as how much you can see, how much you can't see. Previous years, we didn't have infrared cameras and stuff like we have now. Now we can see where the fire is behind a door. We can tell if there's a body in there, from just the heat dissipation. So a lot of things have gotten a lot better. Our self-contained breathing apparatus, that has gotten better. It has more time on your tanks with less weight. Going from the old steel tanks to the fiberglass and composite. So.
Yeah, the technology has to be amazing to be able to do to be able to see inside somewhere and not like the old days where you weren't able to.
Right. You had to just feel.
Yeah. Technology has really changed, certainly with the trucks, with the gear that we use. Early on, the firefighters, going back to Bill, one of our early ones that been around for many years, will tell the stories of the early gear was nothing more than a pair of boots, a jacket, and some thin gloves. And obviously that provided some protection, but it wasn't ideal compared to now standards. So certainly federal regulations have come into play. Safety continues to be paramount for the safety of both, obviously, the firefighters, and then we're also trying to ensure the safety of the people on the scene. So with that safety regulations comes more and more technology, more and more development of equipment, both protective equipment for us and obviously equipment on the fire scene itself.
Yeah. And then more and more training to go along with that.
And that's the downside.
Yes.
The downside of all that is additional training for the firefighters and additional money. Obviously, no technology comes without a price, and the price here is more money. So the price for fire trucks, the price for equipment, unfortunately, has been skyrocketing.
Yeah. What does it cost to gear one firefighter?
Well, we just put in a purchase for some more gear, just without the SCBA. Or was that with the SCBA? It was right at $7,000.
Yeah, that's without SCBA.
To outfit one firefighter is
Yes.
about $7,000, and that's coat, boots,
helmet,
the
no
breathing,
mask,
breathing
gloves, and then that would be with SCBA.
with the SCBA and
Yeah.
the mask and stuff.
So it's not cheap to
No, and that's only for 10 years because it has a end date on it too, so or a lifespan.
yeah, and then as technology improves and you're able to do more with your equipment, that obviously that probably factors into the cost too. So
Oh yeah.
Of course.
yeah. Well, I know, Tom, you've gotten to fight some noteworthy fires. We had mentioned State Nebraska Bank one. I think there's been some other businesses in town that you've had to help fight.
And we had the El Toro. It was a restaurant that burned. I wasn't able to be here. I was out of town at that time, and then wasn't too long after that, the Black Knight restaurant, it went down. And then later on, we had across from the fire department, it was Les's Steakhouse, and can't remember who had it at that time afterwards, but anyway, it went down the top floor, so there was a lot of food and all the perishable stuff that had to be all thrown, of course, but
Sure.
it saved the bottom part of the building.
Yes.
Yeah, there was some notable fires there.
Yeah, and then of course a little over 5 years ago we had the tornado. You guys had the tornado actually just missed the fire hall. I think a lot of people still remember the dog saving the flag from touching the ground, and the tornado itself was not far away from the fire station itself. It very easily could have been a whole different scenario if the tornado didn't go on the path that it had gone.
Yeah, it was close enough there that the guys that were in there said it really rattled the doors. Did
it really?
Yes.
Yeah, it was that close. But then once the tornado was done, then you guys went to work and did what you needed to do in that situation.
And there we had a lot of mutual aid people, departments from all over the area. We had, so much help that we actually had to turn some of it down after we got all organized.
And as you're aware, that was, of course, an event unlike a fire, because that one lasted for many weeks and really going into months in terms of the amount of work for the reconstruction and over the rebuilding efforts and that type of stuff. So,
and several of the firefighters who were in the tornado, or in the at Grossenberg and some of the other buildings that so they kind of got an up close and personal view of that too.
They did, and of course we always usually when bad weather is like that is expected, we very often have spotters out on the road. Spotters are there to try to identify the path of the tornado and to try to give people the maximum warning possible if bad weather is on the way. That's
I think another aspect of being part of the fire department. I think that people don't realize as well is that when severe weather pops up, you guys are out and about, kind of keeping an eye on the skies there.
Yeah, so certainly part of our fire department efforts are not only in responding to the emergency, but certainly we're trying to also avert the emergency if possible, and whether that's through early warning signs like you're saying, what we call the storm spotting, or also we do a lot of stuff through fire prevention, and certainly that's a program that's been going on at the fire hall for many years, and we really try to get to the young children in Wayne and teach them proper fire safety, so that if the best fire to fight is one that never starts, right? The fire prevention. And so we really try to prevent these emergencies. That way we're not responding, and obviously the best case scenario, no one gets hurt, no property is lost.
Yeah, and you mentioned mutual aid. I remember seeing when the day that tornado happened. I was at the newspaper at the time. I remember standing out front of the building and seeing fire truck after fire truck from different communities coming, and I think that's one of the neat things about the firefighting community is that they're when a situation like that comes up and they need assistance, that that everybody's there for each other in those situations.
Yeah, there are mutual aid areas all around us, and we belong to 2 mutual aids. So we have mutual aid to the east and mutual aid to the west of us. So we cover quite a bit of area where if they need help, we can respond there with limited resources because we can't take all of our stuff.
Right.
We have to leave some of it here.
Right.
But we'll send some guys over there or some pieces of equipment. Just like Norfolk, we're in that mutual aid, they can come over. We've been to Sioux City before.
Yes.
When we first got our first ladder truck, we were over to Sioux City.
Just to tie on with that brotherhood of the firefighters, after the tornado, we actually did have offers from places, fire departments as far away as New York City, willing to send firefighters out, willing to send resources out. They'd heard about basically the damage to the community, and they wanted to make sure that our firefighters were well prepared, well taken care of in the aftermath. Mm-hmm. And so they were actually willing to send firefighters out to help with the response, take shifts and that sort of thing. So we're pleased to hear almost really a national brotherhood and national support following that event.
Yeah. The fire prevention, talking about kids fire prevention, does that inspire? Do you see some kids being inspired by what they see when they visit the fire hall and or when they get a visitor from the fire department to come to school and maybe inspires them to get involved?
We have had some young ones in junior fire patrol that have came on the department after they became of age and have spent quite a bit of time on the department. So even now we have a cadet program that's for high school. So there you have your junior fire patrol, you have your cadet program, and we've had some cadets that are on the fire department as full-fledged members right now. So it's a progression there that has worked.
Yeah. How do kids get involved in the junior and cadet fire patrol?
Junior fire patrol's 4th graders. We try to get as many of them out of the particular schools. We have St. Mary's and then the different teachers' classes for the Wayne Public School, and then we have them on Monday nights, and we will give a trophy, a traveling trophy, for them to take whoever had the most students there, and then pass that around. And we just try to keep them involved while trying to teach them how to protect themselves and others.
And as I said, for the cadets is open to a high school student as long as you're 16 years of age. You do, of course, have to have your parents' permission in order to join.
Right.
And we oftentimes go and do some recruiting events down at the high school, send some of our younger members down there. They'll explain what it entails and invite those cadets to come on. And we've also had several of our current members who started in the cadet program.
Yeah. Now they can join the fire department at age 18?
18.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And then they have to go through a process and get approved by the city council before they...
Right. Yeah, they got to get voted on, and then the city council has to give the approval, so because we have insurance on them and everything. Mm-hmm. So the city does, I should say. And then they will have a 6-month probation time, so that way they can find out if that's going to really be for them. So.
Now, do you make the younger ones answer the early morning calls? Then is that
and as far as the cadets,
the younger members of the fire department.
Oh yes,
the new ones.
The new ones, yeah. They may not be the ones going in. They will be rolling hose and doing stuff like that. That all has to be done. So they'll learn. Give them.
I didn't know if there was an initiation process there, where make them answer the 3 a.m. calls.
Yeah. They have to have so much training in the first year too. So
it's
makes a lot of difference there.
Yeah. Well, it's good to get those younger members in to kind of keep it going, because obviously the older members, as time goes on, they
can't quite do what we used to do.
The body can't write the checks anymore that they used to do. Well, again, let's talk about the 125th anniversary. It's going to be coming up next Saturday, April 13th, 11 to 3 at the fire hall, and talk a little bit again about what we can see there this Saturday.
Sure. So as we mentioned earlier, this is really just a thank you to the community. we recognize that 125 years or 130 years, 126 years, whatever our actual official date is a wonderful, basically, run in terms of our fire service to the community of Wayne. So we're wanting to open up our doors, share that with our community, and just thank them for their support. Obviously, we've had 125 or more years of continuous support by the community. So we want to invite them down. Come on down. We're going to have food. We're going to have some activities. Certainly, we mentioned the truck rides, which are always fun, and just coming down, maybe doing a station tour, or coming down and visiting with one of the kind of senior firefighters and reminisce about the history of the department. We're not asking for money. We want to just do this as a thank you for all the support from the community.
Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun on Saturday, April 13th. Again, 11 to 3 at the Wayne Fire Hall. That's at 510 Tomar Drive here in Wayne. A lot of activities and food. So come on down and thank the firefighters for their service to the community and see what the Wayne Fire Department has done here over the last 125 years. It's been a great service to the community, and of course, without all that volunteer help, things could be a lot different in a lot of areas in this community because of that support from the fire department. So, guys, thanks a lot for talking on this edition of the podcast, and
thank you, Mike.
Look forward to the party.
You bet.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Voice of Wayne America podcast here on WayneAmerica.com. Again, I want to thank Sean Piercy and Tom Schmitz from the Wayne Fire Department for talking with us on this episode. We'll have another episode of the Voice of Wayne America podcast coming up really soon, so check back here at WayneAmerica.com. Until then, this is Mike Carnes, and we'll see you later.